Good morning, friends. Today it's Josh Goldstein here. Today I'm going live to answer questions that you may have about the visa situation in Kabul, Afghanistan. As you know, it's been a very, very difficult weekend. The Taliban have taken Kabul and taken over all of Afghanistan at this point. The U.S. Embassy has been evacuated, and it's just an incredibly difficult, an extraordinarily difficult time for people there. And so many of our clients are from Afghanistan or have family members in Afghanistan. And Sunday morning, very early in the morning, I was inundated by questions about what to do and how to sort this out and how the situation there is going to be impacting your case if you've applied for a family member. I want to jump on and go live to share my thoughts on the situation with you and to answer any questions that you have. I see we have a friend from YouTube. Hey, Josh, how are you, sir? Well, I'm okay, but my heart is really with the Afghan people and with my friends and clients from Afghanistan. This is just such agonizing news. So it started, the first message I got from a client, this was at 4 o'clock in the morning, my time, Saturday night, Sunday morning it would have been. And my client said that the U.S. Embassy in Kabul posted a link for spouses of U.S. citizens. And they said that anyone with a pending immigrant visa case can relocate to the U.S. if they have a valid travel document. They could just come to the U.S. and they just bring their documents with them and they would go. I am going to, let's see if I can do this here. I wonder if I can share my screen here. Let's see. I'm going to share my screen here. I think you can see me now. I think you can see the screen at least. It says here, U.S. Embassy Kabul repatriation assistance, and there's some information in here. I'm going to share this link with you so that you'll have it. It's really difficult. One of the questions is that what is the process for Afghans to apply for asylum? I'm going to get into that. Sarath, thank you for your question. First of all, the basis for an asylum application is that you have to have a well-founded fear of persecution based on your race, religion, particular social group, or political opinion. So the Taliban are now in control, and if you have a fear of returning, which I'm sure you do, you could apply for asylum by filing Form I-539. Now, there's a rule that you have to, first of all, one of the rules is that you have to be in the United States to apply for asylum. So, you know, that won't help your average person who's in Kandahar. That won't help them because they need to get to the U.S. to apply for asylum. But if you're already in the U.S. and you don't have proper immigration status and you're from Afghanistan, you might consider talking to a lawyer about applying for asylum. There's a rule that you have to apply for asylum within 1 year of when you arrive. But there are exceptions to that if you can prove that there are changes in country conditions. So obviously the political situation has changed. So if anybody needs help with asylum, I certainly be willing to help you. If you or anyone you know needs help with any immigration case whatsoever, if you're from Afghanistan, please reach out to me. I will be willing to work on your case for a reduced fee or no fee if I can help. I want to do whatever I can to help. We have a particular expertise in resolving delayed visas. I see Freshta, good to see you. I hope your family as well. I'm just heartbroken over this. I have another story that I want to relate to you, another immigration story in Afghanistan. Pardon me 1 second. This This came from another client of mine. He said that he wasn't sure what to do, whether he had the right documents. He tried to do the repatriation approach. So he went to the airport in Kabul with his family to ask questions. He wanted to see what to do. They put him on an airplane. He left. The scenes from the airplane are just horrible. I think the closest parallel we don't have an exact parallel to this. I don't know how things were done in Vietnam in the 70s, but I think the closest parallel we have to what's going on here is the situation in Baghdad. There was a terrorist attack or some security problem. The consulate in Baghdad closed, and they moved all the cases to other consulates. I assume that's what they're going to do here. The question is, will people be able to travel? That's the open question, but I think that people should try to process in other consulates if they can, try to move their cases from one consulate to the other. It's just a horrible, horrible situation. I wonder if the U.S. Embassy in Kabul has any capacity to process visa applications at this point. Is there any staff there? It may be actually impossible for them to do this. That's what I worry about. It says here, we have a question from Eben on Facebook. First of all, Eben, thank you for tuning in. It says, hey, Josh. What's holding up with students who have their appointments locked, especially at the U.S. consulate in Ghana? I don't know sorry, what specific questions do you have? I'm not quite sure. Sarath, how to move to the U.S. Can someone apply for asylum from outside the U.S.? You cannot apply for asylum from outside the U.S. In my opinion, a vast majority of the people in Afghanistan deserve protection from the United States. But nevertheless, there's no mechanism to apply for asylum unless you're physically in the U.S. Here we have a question from Sina. First of all, Sina, thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. I hope this helps you. You said, would you mind giving us some sort of information regarding third country nationals and why their interview is being held back for such a long time? For instance, my case is at 400 days since getting DQ. DQ is not Dairy Queen, it's documentary qualified. So, Sina, what you're asking is, why is it taking so long? And the answer is, number one, I don't know. And number two, I don't really care. In other words, you're not really looking for an explanation for why your case is delayed. You just want to get your case sorted out. You want to get a visa. You want to put this frustrating processing delay behind you. And that's what our firm specializes in. We resolve these delays by filing lawsuits. And one of the core beliefs that I have as a lawyer is that waiting just leads to more waiting. So I don't think you're going to solve your problem by waiting. If you can solve your problem by waiting, you wouldn't be on this YouTube channel right now. You wouldn't be worried about it. You'd be at home. You wouldn't be concerned. But to go back to Sarath's question, if you can't apply for asylum if you're outside the U.S., then what should you do? And I think that if you have a pending application, an immigrant visa application, special immigrant visa application, perhaps you should try to get it processed in a third country if you can get out of the United States now. That would be my best bet. It's a very difficult situation. Victoria Valencia, thank you for tuning in, our friend from YouTube. My question, if the Guatemalan embassy is closed, how can I transfer a visa case to interview in Mexico? First of all, I don't believe that the U.S. consulate in Guatemala is closed. A lot of times they send out automated messages saying that they're closed, but I don't actually believe that the consulate is closed. Unless that's news that I don't know. There's nothing. I'm looking on the website right now. There's nothing saying that the U.S. consulate in Guatemala is closed. I believe that it's open and that they're processing cases. Now, maybe they're doing so in a reduced basis. It says online it's closed. Does it really say it's closed? I'm looking right now on the website. I don't see anything saying it's closed. A lot of times there are messages that suggest that the consulate is processing cases. It's not resuming routine operations, or there's some more complicated languages, but I believe that they're processing cases. I believe that they are. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I think that they're processing cases, and I recommend that, the technique that I use to get delayed cases approved is that I file lawsuits, and we've resolved cases in Mexico, Guatemala, and many other consulates by filing lawsuits. So I think that the notion that they're, one of the things that I get all the time, people say, oh, why would I file a lawsuit? Because the consulate's closed. The consulate's closed. The embassy's closed. And they keep repeating that. But then what I do is I go online and I show them the statistics. And each month they publish statistics showing how many applications they process. And people are astonished, and they look at this and they say, wow, where did you find this? It's online on the State Department's website. And they show that each month they process applications each month. Now, maybe they want you to think that it's closed, or that maybe they send you some complicated legal language to suggest that they're not processing cases on a routine basis, but they're to some degree open. Armando, hope you're having a great day from my favorite. Thank you, buddy. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're riding your bike and doing well. Here's a question from Alvin. How do I migrate my family from Nigeria with my family to the United Kingdom? Well, there are a lot of, let me answer your question this way. There are things that I know, and there are things that I don't know. I have a particular expertise on certain immigration issues in the US, but if you want to know how to immigrate to the UK, you have to find a lawyer like me who's based in London or somewhere else in the UK, because I don't know anything about the UK. Sarath, one more question. Can someone apply for a B1, B2 visa from India in this current situation? So the question is, can you apply for a visitor visa to the United States from India? The answer is yes, but you can only be approved if you can show that you plan to return to your home country. So that could be a problem if you're from Afghanistan. Here we have Marvis Mahmoudi. I want to talk about my brother's SIV case from the U.S. consulate in Kabul, Afghanistan. As you know, we work on a lot of SIV cases, and we do our best to try to help people get approved. These cases are routinely delayed. And I hope you contact me, contact my office. The phone number is right above my big shiny forehead. You can contact me and give me a call, set up an appointment. I'd love to help you. Josh, if I file a lawsuit, what happens if the consulate doesn't respond by a deadline? Good question. So when you file a lawsuit, and I recommend that you do because we get such great results, but when you file a lawsuit, the government has to respond within 60 days. Now, some cases I have get approved before that 60-day mark, but most of them don't. Most cases take more than 60 days. At that point, the government will typically ask for additional time to respond to the lawsuit. This is a source of frustration for me and for my clients, but you are on path to get things sorted out. That's what I typically see in cases like this. So Alicia Hawkins, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're having a great Monday. Have you ever had an I-130 case from Togo? We've been married 6 months. First of all, congratulations. Congratulations to you. I'm so happy for you. that you got married. And I don't think it's a beautiful thing when people come together. And in this world we live in right now, couples are from all over, international couples, and they meet each other in all these different ways. So I don't think you should feel bad about that. I think it's something good. We do cases from Africa all the time. We'd be delighted to help you and help you bring each other together. Here's a question from this incredible cartoon character. Love the avatar there. Liren, do you think it's a good idea for a permanent resident who's out for 5 years and already present in the country for 5 years to apply for naturalization? Boy, that's a great topic. And I just did a consultation on this the other day, and I'm glad you asked me this question. So let me put it up. So the question is, you're a permanent resident, you're required to live in the US, but what happens if you move away from the US? And if you move away from the US, when can you apply for naturalization? Well, once you move away and you spend 5 years, you've broken the residency. So in order to fix that, you come back to the US, and there's the 4 year and a day rule. I want you to write this down, Larry. 4 years and 1 day. If you're married to a US citizen and living with a US citizen, it's 2 years and 1 day. So basically what it means is you come into the US, you stay for 4 years and 1 day, and then you can apply for naturalization. Again, if you're married and you're living with your US citizen spouse continuously, it's 2 years and 1 day. There are other residency requirements too. You have to live in the state that you apply for 90 days before applying. You have to be here more than half the time. But the 4 years and 1 day or 2 years and 1 day rule is one that I want you to keep in mind. This would be a good case to hire a lawyer for, or at least consult with a lawyer. So let me know if you have questions, okay? Hope that helps. Andy says, Josh, when are you resuming taking K1 delay visas? All right, let me explain what happened. There were a couple rulings that came out for K1 visas. And, you know, I don't want to take any case unless I'm pretty confident that I can get a good result. I certainly can't promise a certain outcome. I can only try my best, but we've gotten some mixed results with K1 visas. And so we've put things on pause, and we're going to reconsider and try to come up with some new arguments. I'm not sure, but again, Andy, it's not because I don't want to help. It's just I don't want you to have you and other people hire me as a client and get a disappointing result. So that's what I'm trying. That's why I'm taking this approach, but I'm not quite sure. Do I have a WhatsApp number? We don't have a WhatsApp number that we use for our firm. So we're getting ready to add one, but I'll post that up when I get it, and we'll go from there. All right, here's a great question from 29 Super C. I love your boat, by the way. That's great. Hang on one second. I'm gonna get some iced tea here. It's Monday morning, getting a little caffeine in me before I get going. Okay. Josh, have you filed any EB3 expedite cases? And if so, was it successful? All right. The answer is yes. I've had great success with EB3, helping people who have delayed EB3 cases. EB3 is an employment-based immigration case. These are often delayed. And the strategy that I use to get these cases approved is I file a lawsuit against USCIS. And after I file the lawsuit against USCIS, things begin to get processed and people get their results. I've had tons of clients from India, Taiwan, China, many other places. I guess Taiwan, China, I don't want to be political here. Maybe they're part of the same thing. But I think I could get a good result for you if you have a delayed EB3 case. And also, USCIS moved its headquarters to Maryland. And I just got, on Friday morning, I got admitted to the US federal court in Maryland. And now I'm going to sue them in Maryland. So I'm excited about that because I want to get people good results. Here's a question from our friend on Facebook, NICOT. Josh, do you know when the U.S. Embassy will resume issuing business visas? It's been more than a year since the embassies stopped issuing short-term visa. Artem from Amsterdam. I'm not quite sure what you mean by business visa. Are you talking about a B1 visa? Hang on one second. I'm going to answer your question, but I want to look something up before I do. Hang on. I got a full answer because I think this will be interesting. It's interesting for me, at least. Okay, Artem, don't leave me. I got some good stuff for you. I got some good stuff for you, Artem. Hang on. Okay. So Artem, I want you to check this out. I'm going to share my screen with you right now. Okay. So the question was, when will they begin resuming the issuance of visas? So these are the statistics from June of 2020. And you can see that these are the non-immigrant visas that are issued by each consulate. So Artem said, well, the consulate in Amsterdam is not issuing any business visas. Well, check this out. Here we have, in 1 month, they issued 3 B1, B2 visas. They issued 22 H1B visas, 10 H4 visas, 95 J1 visas, and so on. Here's L1, 23 L1 and L2 visas. So they're issuing O1 visas. There's quite a few there. So you can see that in 1 month, they're issuing quite a few visas. Now, maybe this is not as many visas as they normally do. Maybe it's too few visas. But I don't think it's true that this consulate stopped issuing visas. Yeah, B2. Well, you can see that they did issue some. Can a church in the U.S. invite me for a green card or work permit as a piano player? So there's a few ways that could be done. One is, most obviously, it could be a religious worker visa, but the type of music that you play would have to be specifically, you'd have to be trained in this musical style and so on. This would be something to explore. It's kind of in depth, but possibly. Islamuddin, my friend, thank you for tuning up on Facebook. We do take care of pending asylum applications. Please contact me. I'd love to help you. It's ridiculous. They make people wait for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. It's crazy. It's crazy. So which website did you get that info with the consulate and all that? Well, I just Googled U.S. State Department non-immigrant visa monthly statistics. There's a long link here. I don't know if it would help to post the link up because it's huge. Here's a question from Ran. I got in touch with your office a week ago. I've been waiting for a month, 2 months of administrative processing. This sounds like a great case. I'd love to help you with this, Ran. I'd love to help you. I hope my office was able to answer all your questions. If not, contact me directly. I would love to help you. Let me put my email address up here. I would love to hear from you if I can help at all. This is my email address. Send me an email. Tell me what's going on. I'd love to help. Larry Pint, Biden totally failed in America playing world police without understanding the world. I'm going to totally agree with you, Larry. Totally agree with you. 20 years, $2 trillion. The United States joins Russia, Britain, the Roman Empire, and many other countries that have tried and failed to invade Afghanistan. It's a lot of hubris and ignorance, and real tragedy for people who relied on our help, who assisted us. My heart really especially goes out to the people that helped the U.S. military and the U.S. government. My heart especially goes out to the girls who are in school and the women of Afghanistan. I myself am a feminist. I believe in women should have equal rights with men, and I believe that women should have equal rights to be educated. And I think that that's one of the worst things about society, is that women are not treated in this way, and the Taliban doesn't have such a great record on this. So, yeah, and I think Biden particularly failed in terms of, I mean, if we were going to leave Afghanistan, and that was always the plan, obviously the Taliban were going to take over. And so what sort of planning, if any, went into into this? It seems like they were caught off guard by the fall of all these cities and the fall of Afghanistan. It's terrible. Biden didn't invade Afghanistan. Bushy Jr. did. That's true. There's plenty of blame to go around, in my opinion. Trump made a deal that didn't make a lot of sense. Biden didn't plan for the exits. Obama escalated the war. The American people, the invasion of Afghanistan was really popular. People supported it when it happened in 2001. There's plenty of blame to go around. It's really sad. According to international studies, the Afghans support Sharia law, can't read or write, income is $35. I don't, Larry, I have a lot of friends and clients from this region, from Afghanistan. They're beautiful people. And my heart really goes out to them. And I hope that Afghanistan becomes a better place and overcomes its challenges. But I think that it was high time that America ended the war. I wish that it had ended in a more organized way, in a way that would reduce the suffering for the people left behind. That's my thought. And I'm sure everyone could agree with that. Edwards, let me answer your question. Hello, please help me. The National Visa Center says I need a joint sponsor, and the consular office will make a decision on the case. Will I still get an interview date? Well, if the National Visa Center says you need a joint sponsor, then guess what, my friend? You need a joint sponsor. Let me give you a few thoughts on the joint sponsor. First of all, the person has to be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. The person has to physically live in the United States, and they have to be willing to sign the form and provide the correct documents. If you want my advice on who to get to be a joint sponsor, I recommend that you get somebody who has a job. And what do I mean by a job? I mean someone who is an employee and has an employer. If you find someone who owns a business, their taxes may be complicated, and it may be less likely that they meet the affidavit of support requirements. So that's that. It's the same disaster in Syria, Libya, Iraq, Mali. Larry, you're preaching to the choir. I'm going to be in full agreement with you. These kinds of adventures in foreign countries tend not to end well for the United States and for the people in those countries. So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. So, if you or someone you know needs help with immigration issues, especially if you're in Afghanistan, especially if there are visa problems, I want you to reach out to me, and I would be particularly interested in helping. I will reduce my fee or help you for free if I can, simply because I have so much compassion for the people and what they're struggling with in Afghanistan. I'm going to be reaching out soon with more information. I'll be coming live, and I look forward to speaking to you then. Have a fantastic Monday. Stay safe and be well.